Hi, so I am talking to Mike Hollander, who I spoke to previously about a couple of weeks ago, and we had such an amazing conversation about sales, and so much so that I really wanted to share a video with Mike and share his views with you guys too, because I think he's got some really, really valuable stuff to talk about. Now, I talked to you a lot about prospecting, I talked to you a lot about lead generation and making cold calls, but I've also mentioned that it's important to have a combination of being able to cold call, but also look at your social media and use a combination of resources, if you like, online and offline, to just gather as much information as you possibly can on the people that you're trying to talk to, so you can make sure that you tailor what you're talking to them about to be of value to them, really. And in the same way, I think if you were to invite them to look at you more in depth, then would it be your website? I mean, do you work for a company, or is it you that makes you stand out? And if it's you that makes you stand out, then I think you'll be interested in hearing what Mike has to say about how you should shape that profile you have online. So I'm going to introduce you to my expert friend, who I have been stalking for the last couple of weeks because I think he's brilliant at this, and he's given me so many tips, which I am taking on board avidly right now. So Mike, hi, welcome to the YouTube channel video. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much. You are so kind and generous. I really appreciate you sharing a few minutes with me, because as much as you claim you may learn from me, I learn back from you. So thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. It's great to chat with you. So, so tell us, what should we be looking at? I mean, you're a hugely successful salesperson in the world of printing, so be it. But I mean, it's transferable, is it not? These skills.
Oh, all the skills are transferable. This is not just specific to one market, one industry, or anything like that. This is just the processes that we've been doing for eons in sales, cold calling, emailing, phoning. It's all the same thing. Nothing has changed, except now we have more tools at our disposal. Yes. So if we have the opportunity to go to a networking event and we could shake everyone's hand and we get our 30-second commercial to say who you are and what you do and why they should engage with you, well, now you have the same process 24/7 with social media. Mm-hmm. You're able to connect on a social level where a lot of executives are hanging out because they're not answering their phone, they're not answering their emails, but they are kind of paying attention to what's going on. And perhaps if you can grab their attention and be able to just start driving conversations and starting conversations, being social, then you have the right to ask for an offline meeting.
Right. Okay. So in terms of being able to shape that profile as well, I mean, there's a couple of things. I've got so many questions, but I suppose one of the questions that I should ask you is your thoughts on, is cold calling outdated? Is social media the thing now? Or, I mean, what are we talking about here? I think they're tools. What are your thoughts?
It's a loaded question. You'll see a lot of interesting comments when people go into the cold calling is dead. And my perspective, of course, it's not dead. We have to do it. It's what drives business. Regardless of who you are or where you are, even big box stores, when they walk up to you, they're cold calling you. Yeah. They're not picking up the phone necessarily at first, but you'll get those calls. But no, I do not believe cold calling is dead. What I believe is the processes, the tools, the things that we have at our disposal are so vast now. We've never had all this before, and never been utilizing that as much as we are now. So yes, I think that social media is a huge advantage for salespeople to not only research companies and find these prospects, but to engage them and drive conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit of a loaded question because
yeah,
I was ready with my rifle then. Yeah. But I have to agree, and I have this real passion about cold calling cannot die, because it's a method, it's an approach, it's a tool. If you don't do it very well, then maybe it's dead for you. But if you do it well, then carry on doing it. And likewise with social media, you know, for some people it will work better than others. But again, it's about the know-how of how can you get the most out of that resource, is it not?
Yes. And it's like everything. It's just a matter of jumping in and doing it and learning what you're good at and going from there. You know, if you talk to 99% of salespeople and ask them, do you like to cold call? I'm going to bet the answer is no. And they hate going door to door. They hate picking up the phone. They hate doing the emails because they know the answer that they're going to hear most often is no.
Yeah.
Social media is still a no, but you have ways to be softer about it. So sharing content online, developing your LinkedIn profile is not a online resume, but a personalized website of what you can offer your clients. You're able to research every company and everyone involved in that company so much easier now. I remember when I first started in outside sales about 20 years ago, I would spend countless hours at the library going through the Crane's Book of Business, trying to find companies, find out who the C-level people were, and then engage them in a letter writing, emailing, phone calling campaign, which is about as effective as, you know, doing nothing. But it's difficult. And so, no, I don't think anyone will enjoy doing that. But I certainly think that especially the younger salespeople that are just coming into the marketplace or the business world now have a familiarity with technology where they feel very comfortable in utilizing social media to develop connections, to be able to have that conversation and get instant access to that information, which is why I truly believe we're seeing more and more websites, and we're encouraging our clients to have that live chat on there because they want answers right now. They want to be able to know an answer. They don't want to pick up a phone. They don't want to email you. They want an answer now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think we're seeing that transition.
I mean, and do you think that being a tool of social media the way it is right now, first of all, you and I met on LinkedIn.
We did. We did. And we just had a conversation. It was nothing more than that. Just having a conversation. You know, I spent, you know, a few minutes looking at your site. You looked at mine. And it was more than just connecting to have connections. It was, what value can I bring to you and what value are you bringing to me? And we just had a conversation.
That's right. And I don't think it's immediately apparent the depth of that value that you're going to get from somebody. But I think the key thing that you said there that's really important is to understand that this is about opening doors. This is about being able to find connections and do research and understand who's there. It's not necessarily about doing deals over, LinkedIn and social media, because there is still that element of human interaction that is required.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. My whole purpose on social media, as in cold calling, as in picking up a phone, I'm not closing a deal. I'm just creating conversation. I'm just being genuine. I firmly believe in my success in sales has been being genuine and telling the truth and just having a conversation. We all have the perception of the crazy car salesperson, and we want to avoid that. We don't want to look for cars because it's horrible, and they work so hard trying to change it. But truly, walking into a big box store and just getting harassed, or maybe harassed is not, but getting barraged by these younger people that don't know a lot of stuff, but they're just hounding you and following you around.
Yes.
I believe firmly that sales is about being genuine and just having conversations.
Absolutely. And this is where I do find LinkedIn is, and social media is really, really useful, because you get a feel for the person, and it brings us right back to this whole thing about, selling, it's very rare now that you can get products and services that can differentiate themselves so far from another product or service. It is the sole reason that somebody will go with that product or service. It's usually the brand or the sort of the person who is behind, who is representing that brand, if you like, and how well that a person can trust that company or the culture of that company. And that's going to be, you know, held in the person who's representing them, you know. So brand has been something that's really been used a lot as a word on social media. And whether it's a brand of just one person, a sole trader, or whether it's somebody representing a brand, you know, I think it's great. It's a great way of being able to get a feel for that person and understand who you might want to work with should you be looking for some kind of service or product.
Absolutely. I 110% agree with that statement. That was beautifully stated. Yeah, it's you're buying from the person. Think of the things that you buy every day. You have the same product from two different companies, you know, company A and company B. You're buying from the person you like.
Right.
And so if you feel that that person has been genuine, taking you down a path of educating you and teaching you about the product, and then going to take care of you after the sale, even if it's a couple cents more, now you have brought value to them. You're not selling just on price.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate that so many salespeople believe, oh, I'm getting an objection. Okay, let's drop our price. No, if you've not created the value and educated them to how it's going to solve their business problems, and you haven't earned that right to be at the table, really.
Do you know, I couldn't agree more. And I'm so glad you mentioned price there, because, you know, there's a lot of salespeople who have been born into selling during the recession years, and therefore, you know, they don't know any better than to haggle on, you know, 2 cents, if you, as you put it. And it is one of those things where, you know, we're not in that same period right now. You know, it's about value and quality and service and what you can provide, you know, your ethics, your values, how you come across, how trustworthy are you to be able to provide sustained a service once. And I think this is what has really excelled the social media platforms for, especially for people who are not just people who are the vendors, but, you know, more the buyers, because it's a great way of looking somebody up, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they can get a sense of who you are. They can see if you're genuine. The content that you are sharing, are bringing forth. Are you demonstrating that you are an expert in your marketplace? Do you seem genuine, or do you seem just kind of like a shady guy? Do they want to engage with you? Yes, I agree that you're finding all of that right online 24/7.
And actually, there's some are deceptive as well, because I don't know how many times you've had people wanting to link in with you, and immediately, without conversation, without anything, straight for the jugular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is one of my pet peeves that I've seen people, and I haven't incorporated this, but it intrigues me, but people that you've connected to immediately say to you, how can I be of value to you? Whereas on the other side of the coin is they give you the generic LinkedIn connect. They can't even personalize it. And then the next thing that you get is this long formal email saying, oh, I've looked at your profile and I know your company needs help with social media. Yeah. No, you haven't looked at my profile. You haven't done anything except now you're trying to sell me. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, I unfriend you, I unlink you, whatever you want to call it, because you're not bringing me value, and you're kind of destroying the name for true salespeople that want to do differently.
Yeah, and I love that you say that just there about, you know, true salespeople and destroying the name for salespeople, because, you know, people like you and I think we're one of the reasons that I really love connecting with you is that we're both really, really passionate about, you know, raising that profile of a salesperson. It is not the sleazy car salesperson or the encyclopedia salesman who kicks his briefcase on the way out the door. You know, it is a profession, and it's about time people saw it as a profession and recognize the skills involved in and the, you know, the immense amount of effort that goes into this. It's not unduly rewarded.
Oh, God, that is perfectly stated. Absolutely, yeah. It's the hardest working job you'll ever have, but the most rewarding, as far as I'm concerned. You're certainly not just sitting around waiting for the next deal to fall in your lap. You can't, or you'll be starving. But you spend your time correctly, and that's really what's great about social media. I don't have to do it during my normal sales hours, my most peak productive. I could be engaging with my clients at that time. But after hours, 24/7, I could be doing research. I can do some connecting with people. And in fact, one of the best times that I have found to connect with the C-level executives that I'm connected with is on Sundays. It's a day off for them. They can actually sit in front of their computer and look through this. And I'll have great conversations with these guys on Sundays.
Wow.
And so it's a fantastic opportunity to become engaged with your prospects and just drive conversation. You don't have to sell them, but just drive conversation. Let them know who you are and what you do, and have content on your site. And if it's something of value or that could solve their problem, tag them on one of your contents. Add their name to it. And continue that conversation. And then hopefully when the time is right, they'll see the value of what you can bring to the table and ask you for an offline meeting. And that's really all we're driving for.
Do you know what? I can see why you're so successful at with social media, at connecting and finding leads, because you've just said to me that you do this on a side. I bet that doesn't even feel like work to you.
Oh, no, it's easy enough to do. You're just seeing what's out there. And people, the clients and the prospects that I'm following or connected to put out some great informational content. And so to just make a valid comment on their site, to tag someone in whatever you're sharing, to do these small little things while you're learning something and you're letting them know, hey, I'm out here. I think this could be of value to you as well. Enjoy it.
Yeah. So just to viewers, just to put a point around that, because what I don't want you to think is that this is about you've got to all work and no play. It's not about that. It's about just making the choices between half an hour here and half an hour doing something that you're not going to gain anything from. Now, if you're sitting around, for example, watching mindless television, just waiting for the next program to come, get online. If you really enjoy it. And I think you really have to enjoy it. As you said, Mike, it's something you enjoy. It doesn't feel like work at the time, but it's valuable time spent.
Well, sure. And most people are online for some reason, whether they've researched something, whether they're on their Facebook, whatever it is that they are on. Well, spend a few minutes on doing your business stuff too. Why not? If you can have a conversation with your greatest prospect on a Sunday morning for 5 minutes, and that's going to lead you down a path of selling them or being able to just have a conversation with them, isn't that worth 5 minutes?
Absolutely.
I mean, really.
Absolutely. So, okay, conscious of time, just want to ask you in a wrap-up question. Now, I know that, guys, I'm talking to viewers now very quickly. You probably send emails as follow-up emails to customers, clients, etc. On those emails, do you have a signature which has a link to your LinkedIn profile, or other social media profile that you choose to use? I must stress other social media sites are available.
Sure.
So I'm not promoting just the one. However, whichever one, you ought to have a link to it. And if you do have a link to it, then I'm going to now throw the question to Mike. Mike, what is your biggest tip right now? Just a very quick tip. What should they be looking out for on their profile to make? Well,
on their profile, they should just take a look at different profiles that are out there, and just think of their profile as their personal website. And think of it in a way is that if your prospect went to your profile and they looked at it, would you engage with you? In other words, do you look like a professional expert in your marketplace, in your market, that's going to answer and solve their business problems for them? Or does your LinkedIn profile, your profile on social media, just demonstrate your online resume and that's it?
Perfect. Love it. Love it. That's exactly what I said. Would you listen to you? Mike is saying, would you look at you? So bear that in mind. Have a look at your profile. See how good it really is. Mike,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining me on this video today. I think people are going to get an awful lot of value out of it. I could talk to you forever, but I think, you know, we've got to limit the times on this, because I'd be taking too much information for free off you and you wouldn't come back.
No, I would absolutely be very humble to come back, and I've thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you. As I said earlier, it's a two-way street. I learn as well.
Great.
So thank you.
We'll schedule another one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.